But in this next topic, we're going to talk about the real reason why Tesla could potentially be having a demand problem. And really, it's more so getting into the hurdles of why people don't want to buy an electric vehicle and why that could be. And really, it makes sense, right? Buying an electric vehicle versus a gas vehicle or even a hybrid is certainly different. I mean, put aside cost, put aside, all these different things they have to do to set up to buy an electric vehicle. Probably the biggest thing in which this article is saying is that people are just worried about battery degradation. So I want to ask it out to you. Were you worried about battery degradation, or are you pretty much calm about it? I mean, most of you have probably researched it and you're probably fine, but we'll get into it. And this could potentially be the real reason why Tesla could be having a demand problem, and of course, demand problem versus the other vehicles out there. So we'll get into that. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description if you want to support the channel, but more on that later. All right, so let us take a look at this. So of course, the Tesla Model Y is probably the hottest Tesla vehicle, but I would agree it's still a very relatively expensive car, but I guess it's right in line with the average price of vehicles being sold in the United States, which is around $47,000. But if you factor in this massive $7,500 federal tax rate, if you qualify, as most of you should qualify for buying a vehicle of this price point, that it really makes a lot of sense for a lot of people, and why this makes good financial sense at the end of the day. But shout out to AM Online. This could be the reason why people are not buying Teslas and not buying EVs. So headline: consumers hugely overestimate EV battery degradation. And so of course, we know what this headline means, and this could be why Tesla has started to change some of their, I guess not marketing materials, like where they actually talk about degradation. But let's get into this. So research from Starline Motor Finance found that 56% of consumers, over half of consumers, believed a zero emissions car battery would lose 30% or more range after 5 years, despite a real world drop off more than likely to be less than 15%. So definitely some pretty crazy interesting headlines, and that could be the reason why Tesla and other EVs have not really ate more of the share of switching people to gas. That kind of makes sense. Like, unless you research it, unless you start to Google it a little bit more, you just kind of just think, if I buy a battery electric vehicle just like my iPhone, it's just gonna die and degrade the battery very, very quickly at the end of the day. But that could be the reason why. I don't know if you have all seen recently, but Tesla released that the Tesla battery degradation is only 12% after 200,000 miles. They did this with a Tesla Model S, and they saw that it only lost 12%. But I guess 12% sounds like a small number, but if the range of a 300-mile Tesla Model S loses 12%, I mean, we can do the math. That's up almost 40 miles of range, which is kind of a lot that it will lose at the end of the time frame. But of course, we can't really compare it to like gas cars in any sort of way, but still very interesting stuff that a lot of people out there feel like it's going to be 30%, which is more than substantial, when in real Tesla data, it is only 12%. But at the end of the day, no matter what, Tesla and most other electric vehicle companies out there have really substantial warranties. I want to say like the Tesla one is like 10 years or 8 years or something like that, all the way up to like 150 or 200,000 miles. But you really have nothing to worry about at the end of the day if you're buying a Tesla. But this could be why Tesla has not sold more electric vehicles out there, or why they could be running into a little bit of wall in comparison to other companies out there, but more so with like financing and things like that. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on. Let me know what you're thinking. We're going to jump into the next topic, but before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you can support the channel, and so definitely check it out if you're interested.